My first professional engagements with Dr. Luncheon were when I was working as a civil servant. Even at that time, I was able to observe and I acquired a very profound admiration for Dr. Luncheon in that official capacity. That I was still relatively young, and I observed him as a senior figure in the government. But our engagement really deepened around the time of my assumption of ministerial office, when in 2006 I was appointed to the cabinet for the first time. And I immediately developed an extremely close professional working relationship with Dr. Luncheon. In his various capacities as HPS, Secretary of Cabinet and Secretary of the Defense Board, he played an instrumental role in government operations, which I, like I said, very quickly discovered. And we had an extremely close working relationship. I was new to politics and I was new to the cabinet. He was, by then, an extremely, vastly experienced politician and a long-standing, by that time, long-standing member of the cabinet. And in some respects, I could almost say that I don't know whether this was a conscious decision on his part, I don't know whether it was, but I felt like he very much took me under his wing as a young cabinet member. And he was incredibly generous with his time. I recall Dr. Luncheon devoting hours of his time, sometimes very early on Saturday mornings, sometimes on Sunday afternoons, whether at work or at his home, to engaging with me on issues that I wanted to either to share with him or to get the benefit of his views on. Dr. Luncheon's understanding of government, his grasp of the operations of government, his grasp of public policy, his understanding of the political environment in which we were operating were beyond compare. I was filled with admiration for his ability, his remarkable ability to engage on any issue and offer, considering that, he had himself a professional specialism, having trained as a doctor. But Dr. Luncheon was able to engage on literally any issue. I will say without any reservation that Dr. Roger Luncheon was a man from whom I learned immensely. I learned every time I spoke with him. I left there at least a little bit wiser than when I arrived, every time I had an engagement with him. Even if you might not be his greatest political fan, you couldn't help admiring his wordsmanship, his oratorical gift, the ability to articulate something, sometimes getting to the point very swiftly but beautifully and eloquently, and at other times declining to answer, but doing so with equal beauty and eloquence. The man, Roger Luncheon. The man, Roger Luncheon, alone, put aside the fact that he was this talented medical doctor, high-powered politician, brilliant administrator, put all of that aside and consider only the man, Roger Luncheon. And the man, Roger Luncheon, was a spectacularly decent, good, and beautiful human being.